Holy shit. That was so bad, guys. So bad. Are you fucking kidding me with that screenplay? They introduced Emperor Palpatine strictly as a crutch because they had no plan. Nothing. Yes, I'm speaking through the GPS. They had no plan. Nothing. The lack of foresight meant they had to bring back a bad guy from the original trilogy with no structure whatsoever, just as a scapegoat, because they had no plan at all. Every single thing was rushed. The whole entire movie was quick-paced like a fucking quick-cut video game. Like you're watching a video game storyline on YouTube and it's just cutting between cutscenes. That's what it felt like. Nothing was developed. The whole thing was... Oh, my God. How many times can you just flip up a character's motivations? This whole entire story, if it was like the original trilogy, like this was the plan, to bring Palpatine back and to at least make him seem like the bad guy for the whole entire thing, fine. You build him up to the third story of the trilogy and you make the final payoff worth something. Instead, this is just utter garbage. The screenplay was so bad. Awful. I felt nothing in the end. Nothing. They did absolute disgrace to Kylo Ren. Disgrace. After watching this movie, makes me appreciate freaking The Last Jedi so much more. Thank you, Rian Johnson. This is an utter retread to try and appease a fucking fan base that, oh my God, I hope they're happy, because I am not. God, I am a fan of the original trilogy, and this final capstone is so bad. This is the worst screenplay of any of the Star Wars movies, in terms of just an actual story and trying to tell it. It just doesn't work. Now, sure, the special effects are really good, and the acting, I will give you that, but the actual story itself, the plot, and the hopping, it's just so bad. And honestly, it's like season 8 of Game of Thrones in the way they just took shortcuts. Nothing felt like, nothing gave time to breathe.
Continue on Ardsley Road for 1.5 miles.
Like, if you're gonna kill Chewbacca, at least maybe give time for Rey to feel bad. And it's just like, no. Immediately cutting to talking to Finn, so you know that's just not true. And, like, you knew whenever, like, Emperor Palpatine is going to fucking kill Kylo... I'm sorry, spoilers. Spoilers, everybody! Because I'm so fucking pissed at this screenplay. It's so bad. Granted, it shouldn't be spoiled, so you can see how it plays out. Because it just plays out like someone's playing Mad Libs, trying to connect dots, and trying to connect The Force Awakens with The Rise of Skywalker. And it just doesn't work. I'm most upset that they had to bring back Emperor Palpatine because they had no idea where to bring the story after what Rian Johnson did. And this is all Disney's fault for the lack of planning with this trilogy. They didn't plan well and they fought for it. They could not tie any ends. They put in too much into this last movie. They tried to cram in so much that there was no time to breathe. It was just go, go, go. You couldn't feel any atmosphere. There was nothing. I'm so upset. And I'm not upset at the actors or whatever, and I don't know what J.J. Abrams. I'm kind of upset at J.J. Abrams that it was so ham-fisted again. This was more ham-fisted than The Force Awakens in terms of trying to appease a fan base. And I'm upset. Like, strictly, as a movie, The Rise of Skywalker is not good. Like, as a movie, as a story, it's just not good. No time to breathe, didn't do the characters any justice whatsoever, completely stripped away the sequel, The Last Jedi, completely stripped it away. Leia's death, the amount of, like, healing themselves and then people trading life forces for one another, like, it's freaking like you're trading health packs in a video game. And again, I don't mind taking risks. There was a part in the movie which was awesome. When Rey fucking has lightning come out of her fingers, oh my God, someone good of the Force on the light side can have lightning come out of their fingertips. Oh my God, that's an interesting thing. I love it. Taking a risk. Awesome. But none of it comes together. And again, it's not well structured. It's not a good screenplay. It's not a good story. And it doesn't even look as good as The Last Jedi. So if you had problems with The Last Jedi story, you could fall back on the way it looked. This is just really not good. The amount, oh my God, I don't want fame face palming moments in Star Wars. I don't. It's a sci-fi fantasy. I should be able to buy into everything with the atmosphere and just buy into the good versus the light. And it's just not. The thing with The Last Jedi brought a sense of gray area to it. It brought a sense of we don't know what's going to happen. There wasn't a definitive light and dark side.
Right New York, 22 South.
Which is what made the original trilogy so good. It's what the prequels had as well. It's what it was building up to. But The Last Jedi stripped that away. It made it a gray area. It was a controversial choice. I respected it, and I was curious to see how they tied together. But no, they ham-fisted in, creating black and white again, creating good and evil by bringing Palpatine back. And it's so ham-fisted.
Right
it's so poorly
South.
thought out. It's such a poor decision that I am infuriated. It's just not good. Nothing. No charm. Guy, it's really not good.
Continue on New York 22 South for 1 mile.
I'm disappointed. I mean, right now, Stanko rating is a D. Like, that's my gut reaction. I'm going to sleep on it, do whatever. But, oh my God. I love Star Wars. And I can buy into a bad movie. And you know what? Probably in time, I'll buy into this one. But right now, my gut reaction, just from... I know good movies. I know a good screenplay. I know when there's a sense of direction about what they want to accomplish. And there was none in this. And I think that's Disney's fault for lack of planning. J.J. Abrams is going to take the brunt of it because it's just not well thought out. And they tried to ham-fist back in a story everyone was used to. And it does not pay any dividends. Because instead, it's a too overly paced, overstuffed, wrought tale that it just doesn't do any service to the story arcs that each character was having. Most importantly, it absolutely strips Kylo Ren of any sense of character development at all. It strips the performance of Adam Driver in The Last Jedi, which again, whether or not you disagree with The Last Jedi's choices, you can't deny that Adam Driver was the standout performance in that movie. He was a standout part, and in this one, he's stripped down to nothing. And the amount of just in-your-face fan service is too much. There's something to subtlety. Subtlety is good. And sometimes, you know what? Over the top is good. But you have to earn that over the topness. You have to earn it. You have to have the audience buy in so when it's so obvious, they're not completely taken out of the moment. But they don't do that in this movie. They don't. You don't give them the benefit of the doubt. You can tell they're doing it just to appease. The Rise of Skywalker is not good.
Turn left onto 113.
It's season 8 Game of Thrones. It's disappointing. In time, maybe I'll come to appreciate it or whatever, but no foresight, no planning.
On Wilmot Road for 1.5 miles.
And the Rise of Skywalker pays for it. Stanko initial rating D, subject to change, but not good. Disappointment. And also just the action I'm just adding this in on the end. The action wasn't even that good. Like, just looking back at all the Star Wars movies, you could tell what was happening. It was coherent, and you could tell, like, the plan of a battle. You knew what they were trying to do going in, but nothing just seemed to make sense. And, like, some Emperor Palpatine just contains all the Sith. How many Sith are there? Like, he just has a secret fortress on... It's just not thought out. Treat the audience like they're smart. And let them make a decision for their own. That's what Rian Johnson did. Rian Johnson... Man... The Last Jedi, I wish I could retroactively go back and grade it higher because, oh my God, he treated the audience like it was smart and let us make his own decision. And guess what? He got torn apart for it. But The Rise of Skywalker treats the audience like a kindergartner, saying, here's a shiny toy, ignore all the problems with it. Here's a shiny toy to keep you appeased. It's like that burning, that's like the dog sitting in the burning room fire where he's going, this is fine, because he's just staring at old nostalgia. Meanwhile, everything is burning around him. The storyline, burning. Character development, burning. Any sense of originality. Rehash old things. Treat the audience like they're stupid. Put something shiny in front of them to try and cover up everything that is burning around it. The Rise of Skywalker doesn't cover everything up. It's just not a well-constructed movie. It's not a good movie. even for a franchise that I'd love to give the benefit of the doubt to, there's no denying The Rise of Skywalker is not a good movie. Objectively speaking, it's just not. Alright, I am in the car on the way to the movie theater to see Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Just my gut feeling going into this movie is that I am very nervous. I think the biggest thing taking from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi is that Disney did not have a foolproof plan for these three movies, and I think that their lack of planning and lack of foresight makes me incredibly nervous as to how they're going to try and put a lid on this story that veered off very, very different directions between Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And now J.J. Abrams is back trying to tie a knot on some storylines and some decisions that were made by Rian Johnson. And he's probably going to try and appease Disney and the large outcry of fans. And it's going to be a super, super tough task because I think it's impossible. You're not going to be able to appease the normal fan base of Star Wars, and you're not going to be able to appease the people who enjoyed The Last Jedi and the risks that it took. And I think they are trying to bridge both gaps when they should really just have picked a direction, gone with it, and told everyone else in the fandom to just shove it. So I'm nervous. Heading into this movie, just looking at the most recent Star Wars adventures, I enjoyed The Force Awakens very much. It was a return to nostalgia, definitely hit the right buttons. J.J. Abrams was able to touch the right touch points, and it reminded me of my happiness of the original trilogy. Was very, very happy with it. Upon rewatch, it is not as structurally sound as a movie as I remember the first couple times I saw it, but it was still very good, and I still enjoyed it very, very much. Don't really have anything bad to say about that. We get to Rogue One, a Star Wars story. For my money, the best of the original Star Wars movies that have been put out since this new wave of Star Wars cinema has taken place. The movie was visually striking. The ending with Darth Vader is top 3 Star Wars scene for me all time. Just completely and utterly blew me away. So, Star Wars Rogue One, enjoyed it very much. By far the best of the new ones that's been put out. Then we get to The Last Jedi. This is the controversial one. And this is one that I think some people have a hard time in the way I appreciate, but also just don't really like the movie. First things first, Rian Johnson, the movie, he directed the hell out of this movie. It is visually stunning. It is by far the best looking Star Wars movie that has ever been made. The cinematography is unbelievable. Fight choreography, fantastic. It looks amazing. In terms of the story, again, I am preaching this. I do not mind the fact that Rian Johnson took risks with this story. I appreciate the fact he took risks. I have zero problems with that. There are parts of it that I enjoyed, but there are parts of it that I really, really didn't like, and it really, really took away from the whole experience. Number one, the character of Rose and the trip to Casino Planet. I thought that was just a complete asinine waste of 20 minutes. They end up getting this hacker who wasn't even the hacker they were supposed to get. Benicio del Toro puts on a showmanship performance for a little bit, and then they get captured by the First Order. And that whole sequence with Rose and Rose kissing Finn at the end, I hated that. Don't like the character of Rose. I know she got a ton of backlash for it, and I feel bad for her, but again, I just don't think as a story direction it was very good. 2, the other thing that really bugged me, Leia's force walk back to the starship after it was blown up by the First Order Air Force Brigade. Again, I don't mind the fact that Star Wars is taking risks with the Force. I have zero problems with it. But you can't have somebody get blown to smithereens and then survive. I just don't think that's possible. I don't buy it. And again, I don't mind taking risks, but I just did not agree with this decision. The risks in terms of Rey's parents meaning nothing, I love that. The risks of Kylo and Rey being able to talk to each other, I don't mind that at all. I think it could have been done better in the movie, but it was still good. I still enjoyed that aspect of it. But the 2 big gripes, the Rose character and the trip to the Casino Planet, all seemed a little bit too preachy. I don't like the character of Rose. I'm sorry. I just really don't. And I did not like the Leia force walk back to the spaceship. I don't think you should be able to survive a giant explosion to the hull of your spacecraft. I just don't think that you should do that. And then, so again, I don't mind killing General Snoke. I don't mind that. It's just, I didn't enjoy The Last Jedi as much as I thought I did. I thought the decisions around Luke Skywalker's character were risky. Some of it I liked, some of it I didn't. I thought the ending just overall was anticlimactic with him being the hologram. Again, I don't mind him force projecting himself. Granted, it's a super far distance to force project, but I'm not going to complain a super lot. But I'm not a super fan of it. But I just think overall that ending with him just, Kylo Ren just slashing at air, and it didn't feel right. And like Luke being able to do the Matrix stuff, I felt something was fishy, and then it turned out to be, so just not a huge fan. So wasn't a huge fan of The Last Jedi. And then there was Solo, which I don't think is as bad as people say it is. I think it's definitely hit or miss, but I think overall it was an enjoyable movie. And it's not going to, didn't deserve to win any awards. It's not going to be the upper echelon of Star Wars movies, but for all the bad raps that had around it, it came out okay. So now we're heading into The Rise of Skywalker. We're going to head, how are they going to close out the Skywalker saga? I don't know how they're going to give closure to the relationship between Kylo and Rey. It's no longer good versus evil. There's a gray area between Kylo Ren being whether he can be brought back to the light or not. And they dabbled in that gray area by showing Rey with the dark side red lightsaber in some of the previews. So I don't know what they're going to do with that gray area, and I think it's going to be tough to close it out in one movie. I think also bringing back Emperor Palpatine, while I geeked out during the trailer when his laugh came up, how the hell are they bringing him back? I don't get it. I don't know how. There's going to be some Star Wars lore with it. All right, listen, I'm down. My mind is open. I'm more than excited if it comes out and starts kicking ass. I'm going to be really excited about it, but how are they going to do it? I'm really worried, and I'm nervous they're going to cram so much into this movie that it's just not going to make coherent story sense, and it's not going to flow well. That's what I'm most worried about, is that it's going to be rushed, and I'm going to feel like they're cramming too much in, and they're not going to let the atmosphere and the just kind of the Star Wars essence shine. They're going to try and shove too much story into it. Again, the antithesis of what I think The Rise of Skywalker is going to be is The Mandalorian show. The Mandalorian show is not about a huge arcing story plot. It's about the atmosphere, the characters, the relationships, and the things you love about Star Wars, all the little aesthetics that make it so good. I think The Rise of Skywalker is going to diverge away from that. That's just my feeling going in. I've tried to avoid every single critics review I've had. People sent me them. I shooed them away. I'm trying to go in with an open mind, but that is the mind I'm going into of this movie. I'm nervous. I'm cautious. Overall, I'm hoping I'm entertained. I don't want a ton of controversy with it. I don't want a ton of backlash. I just want to be entertained. I want to be happy with it, and I want to be able to say the Skywalker saga ended on at least a happy note of entertainment rather than controversy and Star Wars fans bickering with each other. Make me entertained. Thank you. I'll get back to you. Now you're going to hear my reaction to The Rise of Skywalker. My initial reaction when driving back to my house after the movie theater. I'm seeing the 11:40 p.m. showing on Thursday night, at the Alamo Drafthouse by myself because I'm super excited. Going to get bottomless popcorn, going to get a beer, going to enjoy it. So, short pause, the magic of editing. You're going to hear my initial reaction to The Rise of Skywalker right after this.